Does your Chihuahua wait outside the bathroom door like you've disappeared from their world? You close the door for just a few minutes, and suddenly, there they are, a tiny shadow on the other side. Maybe you hear little paws tapping on the floor, maybe a soft whine, maybe one gentle scratch at the door, or maybe your Chihuahua simply sits there in complete silence, waiting. At first it seems funny, a little dramatic, maybe even adorable. But then you start to wonder, why do they do this every single time? Why can't they just relax in the living room? Why does a closed bathroom door seem to matter so much to such a tiny dog? The truth is, your Chihuahua may not be trying to annoy you. They may not be clingy in the way people often joke about. And they are not necessarily being spoiled or demanding. For some Chihuahuas, that closed door may represent something much deeper. A sudden separation, a break in connection, a moment where the person they trust most is close enough to hear, but impossible to reach. And when you look at it from their point of view, the bathroom door is not just a door. It is the one thing standing between them and the person who makes the world feel safe. So today, let's look at why your Chihuahua waits outside the bathroom, what this behavior may really mean, and how to tell the difference between a sweet little habit and a sign your dog may need extra emotional support. And before we begin, tell me in the comments, does your Chihuahua wait quietly outside the bathroom, scratch the door, or cry until you come out? To us, the bathroom door means privacy. A normal part of daily life, something we close without thinking. But to your Chihuahua, that same door may feel very different. One moment, you are right there, visible, reachable, part of their little world. And the next moment, you are gone. They can still smell you. They may still hear you moving around. They may even know you are just a few steps away, but they cannot see you. They cannot touch you. They cannot follow. And for a dog who feels safest when they are close to their person, that small change can feel surprisingly big. This is especially true for many Chihuahuas because they are often highly attached to their owners. They are small dogs living in a large human world. Loud sounds, sudden movements, unfamiliar people, and changes in routine may feel overwhelming to some of them. So when they find one person who feels safe, one voice they recognize, one presence that makes the home feel calm, they may naturally want to stay close. Not because they are trying to control you, not because they are being difficult, and not always because something is wrong. Sometimes they are simply following the thing that makes them feel secure. You. That is why your Chihuahua may follow you from the couch to the kitchen, from the bedroom to the hallway, and yes, even to the bathroom. For them, staying near you may be a habit of comfort, a way to keep track of their favorite person. A quiet little routine that says, as long as you are close, everything feels okay. But when the bathroom door closes, that routine suddenly breaks. They know you are nearby, but they cannot get to you. And that is when some Chihuahuas begin to wait. Some sit silently. Some lie down, right against the door. Some whine softly. Some scratch once or twice, then pause, listening for your response. And some simply stare at the door as if waiting for their world to open again. This does not always mean your Chihuahua is panicking. It does not always mean they have a serious problem, but it may show that your presence matters deeply to them. Because for many Chihuahuas, love is not always loud. Sometimes love looks like a tiny dog waiting outside a closed door, just to be there when you come back out. Many Chihuahua owners describe their dog as a little shadow. You stand up, they stand up. You walk to the kitchen, they follow. You move from one room to another, and somehow tiny paws are always right behind you. At first it can seem funny, then it can seem confusing, and sometimes it can even feel a little intense. But this close following behavior often has more than one possible explanation. One reason may be attachment. Chihuahuas often form very strong bonds with the people they trust most. When your Chihuahua chooses to stay near you, they may be using your presence as a source of comfort. Your voice, your scent, your footsteps, your routine. All of these familiar things may help them feel grounded. Another possible reason is habit. If your Chihuahua has followed you for years and each time they follow you, they receive attention, eye contact, gentle words, or even a laugh, they may have learned that following you keeps them connected, not in a manipulative way, just in a simple dog learning way. Behavior that feels rewarding often gets repeated. So if waiting outside the bathroom usually ends with you opening the door, smiling, speaking to them, or picking them up, your Chihuahua may learn. When I wait here, my person comes back to me. And then there is curiosity. To your Chihuahua, you are often the most interesting thing in the home. You move around. You open doors. You touch objects. You disappear into rooms. You come back with new smells. So when you go somewhere, they may simply want to know what is happening. But there is also another layer. Chihuahuas are small. Very small. And for some of them, the world can feel unpredictable. A sudden noise outside, a visitor at the door, a dropped object, a strange smell, a change in routine. Small dogs often experience the home from a very different perspective than we do. The world is taller, louder, faster, and sometimes harder to understand. So staying close to a trusted person may help your Chihuahua feel more secure. This is why the bathroom can become such a powerful moment. Because your Chihuahua is not just following a person. They may be following safety. They may be following familiarity. They may be following the one part of the world that feels predictable. And when that familiar person disappears behind a closed door, even for a short time, your Chihuahua may feel unsure of what to do next. That is why they wait. Not always because they are afraid, not always because they are anxious, but because being near you has become part of how they understand comfort. And when you return, even after only a few minutes, their little world may feel complete again. For many Chihuahuas, waiting outside the bathroom is completely harmless. It may simply be part of their routine. You go in, they sit down, they wait. You come out, their tail moves, and life continues as normal. If your Chihuahua waits calmly, lies down, or quietly follows you after you return, this behavior may just be a sign of attachment, a little habit, a moment of closeness, a tiny dog saying in their own way, "I like knowing where you are." But sometimes the behavior may look more intense, and that is when it is worth paying closer attention. If your Chihuahua scratches the door again and again, cries the entire time you are inside, paces back and forth, shakes, barks sharply, or seems unable to settle even after you come out, then the bathroom door may be triggering more than simple curiosity. It may be creating a moment of stress. Not because your Chihuahua is bad, not because they are trying to control you, and not because they are being dramatic, but because some dogs have a harder time feeling calm when access to their person suddenly disappears. The important thing is not just what your Chihuahua does outside the bathroom. It is how intense the reaction is, how often it happens, and whether they can recover afterward. A Chihuahua who waits quietly is very different from a Chihuahua who seems distressed every time a door closes. And a Chihuahua who follows you around the house is not the same as a Chihuahua who cannot relax when you are out of sight. This difference matters because close attachment can be normal, but ongoing distress may mean your dog needs more support. You might notice other signs too. Maybe your Chihuahua becomes restless when you pick up your keys. Maybe they cry when you step outside. Maybe they refuse food when you are gone. Maybe they bark for a long time after you leave. Maybe they scratch doors, chew objects, or have accidents indoors when left alone. These signs do not automatically mean one specific problem, but they may suggest your Chihuahua is struggling with separation or changes in routine. And if the behavior is severe, sudden, or persistent, consulting a veterinarian or a qualified behavior professional may be appropriate. Because the goal is not to label your Chihuahua. The goal is to understand what they may be experiencing and help them feel safer in a gentle, healthy way. So when your Chihuahua waits outside the bathroom, look closely. Are they peaceful or are they distressed? Are they simply staying near you or are they unable to settle? That small difference can tell you a lot, because sometimes waiting is just love. And sometimes, waiting is a little signal that your Chihuahua may need extra reassurance. If your Chihuahua waits outside the bathroom, the first thing to remember is this. Do not punish them for wanting to be close. To your Chihuahua, this behavior may not feel like misbehaving. It may feel like seeking comfort, seeking connection, seeking the person who makes the home feel familiar. But that does not mean you have to let the bathroom door become a daily moment of stress. You can help your Chihuahua learn that short separations are safe. Gently, slowly, without turning it into a battle. One helpful step is to practice very small moments of distance during the day, not just when you need to leave, and not only when you close the bathroom door. For example, you might step into another room for a few seconds, then return calmly. No big goodbye, no dramatic reunion, just a normal moment. Over time, your Chihuahua may begin to learn. My person can disappear for a moment and still come back. You can also create a comforting place nearby. A soft bed, a familiar blanket, a safe little corner. Something that smells like home. For some Chihuahuas, having a predictable resting spot can make short separations feel less confusing. The goal is not to force independence overnight. The goal is to build confidence in tiny pieces. Because tiny dogs often need tiny steps. You can also pay attention to your own reaction. If every time you open the bathroom door, you immediately speak in a worried voice, rush to comfort them, or make the moment very emotional, your Chihuahua may learn that the separation was a big event. But if you return calmly, softly, and normally, you may help the moment feel less intense. This does not mean ignoring your dog's feelings. It means showing them, through your own calm behavior, that nothing dangerous happened. You left for a moment. You came back. Everything is okay. And for some Chihuahuas, that repeated pattern can be very reassuring. If your Chihuahua is calm outside the bathroom, you might reward that calmness with gentle praise. A quiet, good dog, a soft touch, a peaceful return. But if they are crying, scratching, or panicking, try not to turn it into a scolding match. Stress usually needs support, not punishment. And if the behavior feels extreme, sudden, or connected to other signs of distress when you leave the house, it may be helpful to speak with a veterinarian or a qualified behavior professional. Because sometimes what looks like clinginess may actually be a dog who needs help learning how to feel safe alone. And that is not their fault. It is simply something they may need guidance with. So the next time your Chihuahua waits outside the bathroom, try to see the moment differently. Not as an interruption, not as a silly habit, not as a sign that they are trying to control your every move, but as a small window into how deeply they connect with you. Your Chihuahua may not understand privacy. They may not understand why doors close. They may not understand why the person they trust most suddenly disappears from view. But they do understand patterns. They understand safety. They understand your voice, your scent, your footsteps, and your return. And every calm return teaches them something important. You are not being left behind. I am still here. That is why this tiny behavior can feel so meaningful. Because sometimes, the smallest dog in the house is carrying the biggest need for connection. And sometimes, the little paws waiting outside the bathroom door are not asking for much. Just reassurance, just closeness, just the comfort of knowing that when the door opens, their favorite person will be there again. When your Chihuahua waits outside the bathroom, it may seem like a tiny moment, a normal part of the day, a little habit you almost stop noticing. You close the door. They wait. You come out. They look up. And the world keeps moving. But sometimes, the smallest habits reveal the deepest bonds. Because your Chihuahua is not just waiting for a door to open. They may be waiting for connection to return, for your voice, your scent, your footsteps, your presence, the familiar things that help their little world feel safe again. And maybe that is why this behavior touches so many Chihuahua owners. Because behind the humor of it, behind the tiny pause outside the bathroom, behind the dramatic little stare when you finally open the door, there may be something very simple. Your Chihuahua likes being near you. You are part of their routine, part of their comfort, part of the way they understand home. And while it is important not to turn every behavior into something serious, it is also worth noticing the love hidden inside the ordinary moments. The way they follow you from room to room, the way they wait when you disappear, the way they brighten when you return, the way such a small dog can make you feel so deeply seen. Not because they know everything you feel, not because they understand every reason you leave, but because in their own quiet way they have learned that you matter, and you have become one of the safest parts of their world. So the next time you see those little paws under the bathroom door, or hear that soft sound from the hallway, pause for a moment before you laugh. Because your Chihuahua may not be trying to interrupt your privacy. They may simply be saying, "I feel better when I know you are close." And if they are calm, peaceful, and able to settle, this little habit may simply be part of your bond. A sweet reminder that love does not always look dramatic. Sometimes love looks like a tiny dog sitting outside a closed door, waiting patiently for their person to come back. And if your Chihuahua does this too, tell us in the comments. Do they sit quietly? Do they scratch the door? Do they cry until you open it? And what is your Chihuahua's name? Because somewhere out there, another Chihuahua owner is probably smiling right now, realizing their little shadow does the exact same thing.